Here's an anime about making anime from the director that brought you a guy getting shot in the ass. Like, he's famous for other things too. I just love that scene. This first reaction is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken is an anime adaptation of the manga of the same name by Sumito Uwada. It follows an unlikely group of young girls who each have various aspirations for life and work, but through happenstance come together in the hopes of being able to make an anime. And to also make money by creating anime. We follow the young Asakusa, who from a young age wanted to be an explorer, to be someone who discovered new worlds and faraway places, something much more exciting than where life has currently led her. But one day she experienced something that all young otaku do. She watched a Ghibli film. It's not actually a Ghibli film, but rather a loving recreation of the 1978 anime series Future Boy Conan, directed by Miyazaki pre-Ghibli. With some nerd facts for you. Nerd facts! Things you didn't need to know, but now do. You're welcome. Seeing this kind of futuristic creativity displayed before her, she is led to create her own worlds instead of just discovering them. And she sketches all sorts of new locales and the various kinds of technology that might exist in each. Her journey as a concept artist has begun, but that alone does not make an anime. You need a character animator to fill out the world, and, well, there's also a whole bunch of money and logistics that need to be figured out. So you need a producer. And that's where the rest of the trio comes in. Mizusaki comes from a well-off family that does not necessarily approve of her desire to be an animator, as that type of artistic venture might not be acceptable for someone of their social status. So she can't officially join the anime club. She needs an alternative. Kanamori, while not being as artistically minded as the other two, is very business savvy and money conscious. Seeing both her friend and this budding socialite in similar circumstances, she steps up to push them together so that the three of them can start a new school club and produce an anime all of their own. Despite the show being about girls pursuing anime creation, thus far it is far more like a love letter to those with boundless imaginations. It's what I think sets Eizouken apart from other shows about making anime, the pure focus on the characters' imaginations and how that plays into both their desires and dreams. Plenty of times Asakusa goes off on a daydreaming binge, explaining to her two friends how some cool new design works, and the story then showcases this by having the characters live out said daydreams. They join in with them, and they add to them as their situation continues. From exploring new locales to even just simple situations that they turn into fantastical ones. Repairing the club roof like they were a ship out in space, with hail turning into debris. Like, they aren't just sitting in an old warehouse talking about how a windmill might work, they instead showcase through their imaginations what would have to change to make it work, complete with a concept sketch style and helpful homemade sound effects. Just the sound effects alone, despite being something that the director has done before in other works, just adds a layer of charm to these scenes. Eizouken is largely eye-catching, not only for its unique visual style, but also because of those in charge of bringing it all to life. This is the first time in 2 years that Masaki Yuasa has taken up the director's position for a TV anime since Devilman Crybaby, even though for some reason the official PVs for the series say that this is his first TV anime in over 5 years. The PV was released in 2019, and 5 years prior to that was 2014 when Yuasa directed the TV anime Ping Pong, so either Netflix just doesn't exist to them, or for whatever reason, Science Saru doesn't consider Devilman to be a TV anime. And while I guess that is technically correct, it's still odd. Regardless, Yuasa is also very well known for making some breathtaking films. There's his take on The Little Mermaid and Lou Over the Wall, and he continued to further mystify people with the world of Tatami Galaxy in Night is Short, Walk on Girl. I covered both of these films and a variety of other Yuasa works in the middle of last year, so check that video out if you haven't. But to put it simply, he is a director that likes to take exaggerated visuals and then use them to further the charm of the story. He's easily able to accomplish this since he co-founded his own studio back in 2013, which has been the producer of pretty much all of his works since late 2014. As far as this series is concerned, though, the story goes that while searching himself on the internet, Yuasa came across a post where someone said, hey, this Eizouken manga would be great as an anime that Yuasa directed. And he was like, sure, why not? Because he's a boss like that. It's not that surprising either, because Uwada's original manga does very much look like something Yuasa could direct. The similarities in style were already there, and the way that Uwada visualized the girls' imaginations is very much in line with the same style that Yuasa uses already. It's no wonder that people were clamoring for this to be made by him. So it's a good thing it was. What I love about this series so far is just how much the show likes to lean into the imaginations of the characters. Like, they don't limit themselves by what is physically possible. Even in terms of money and resources, Kanamori will just be like, yeah, we'll figure it out, though she does have her breaking points. It's that chill yet determined attitude that makes the adventure through their minds so endearing. Kanamori specifically is the kind of character that I haven't seen in a long time. Her design is unique in that tall and lanky girls haven't generally been popular in a while, if ever. Add this to her rather blunt attitude and constant toothy grin, it makes her a delightful oddity that I just want to see more of. Freaking best girl of 2020 right here, or at least a contender that I'm putting pretty high on my list. Trying to predict the end of the series, though, is difficult to do at this juncture. While there is a set goal for the characters, creating a feature-length anime film, I'll be honest in saying that it feels like a secondary objective to the narrative. So far, the show is far more focused on the journey to make the film rather than what the end result will actually be. And this is currently fine considering just how wild and entertaining that journey is. I'm just hopeful that while the imaginations of those characters are soaring high, that if even for just a moment we will have a soft landing at the end to give some semblance of closure when all is said and done. The manga is still ongoing, and I'm not sure how far the story has gotten there, but I do trust Yuasa and the team at Science Saru to satisfy us by the end of the season, even if we don't see the cast completing their anime at that time. Now, I haven't seen too much of the other anime for this season, only a small handful of shows, but I can already say that this is one of my favorites for this season. Its charm alone sets it apart from other things that I have enjoyed, even from the past year. And the great thing about starting to enjoy anime from this year, from this new decade specifically, is that I can stand here and I can say that Eizouken is my favorite anime of this decade, and I am not wrong. I don't even have to think about it. Like, I've started keeping track of the best anime of the year already, and Eizouken has already been added to several lists. It has superb animation and character designs, a banging OP that's just been stuck in my head for several weeks now. And as I mentioned previously, I'll be damned if I don't see Kanamori on people's best girl lists for this year. Not all best girls need to be the cute ones. And there's just something nostalgic about the way that these girls come up with and imagine things. Like, it reminds me of when I used to do that on the school playground back in the day, just roaming around and having fun, except that their artistic abilities definitely exceed mine from that point in time. I am very interested to see not only what these girls are going to come up with on their journey to make an animated film, but also just the journey itself and how they get there. I've been fascinated by the art of making anime for a long time, and a highlight for me has always been anytime a show likes to get meta and explain the individual cogs that make it all possible. So I don't see this series being any different. Do I recommend it as something to watch this season? Yes, highly. Anything with Yuasa's name attached to it has historically been worth the watch, even if those projects always lean a little bit into the weirder and more abstract. But unlike some of his seemingly more intellectual-ish works, Eizouken is a series that is far more accessible for a wider audience, and you should add it to your watch lists for this year, for this season, if you haven't already. There will be streaming links down in the description should you require them as per usual, and let me know down in the comments what you guys have been following this season, and hopefully I will talk about it in a future video. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, watch more anime, and stay frosty.